Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and those who have yet to make up their minds. I am your host, JustJack.com, coming to you with a live podcast with my homegirl, Ivy Winters. Say hi, Ivy. Wave your
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Wave your hands, wave your flag. Girl, look at her. We have Miss America. We welcome you to subscribe to our newsletter at justjack.com with 2 S's because one just ain't enough. Ivy, do you have a website you want to plug? Anything like that?
Not at the moment. Thank you, though.
Not at the moment, but you can look forward to her website at ivypratt.com. Coming to a theater near you. Coming soon after these messages. Just kidding. Let's get right into this, girlfriend. Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember how me and you met?
I always remember how we met.
How did
it was Leo's blackout party. That's what I remember. I remember meeting you at Leo's blackout party. We were there. It's his birthday, and you were standing on the other side of the bar in the kitchen. I think
You're the food and booze.
Like close to the drinks. And I think maybe I was over there making a drink, and we struck up conversation, and it just turned into a deep one. That revealed that we were kindred spirits, and whenever we're together, it doesn't matter if years passed or however much time. It's like our hearts are holding hands all over again.
All the time. I feel like, most people don't want to have those deep conversations. And sometimes at parties, I'll sit next to somebody and they'll say, oh, no, I'm not drunk enough to talk to you yet. But you never do that to me. I'm like, so what is the meaning of life, Ivy? You're like, oh, let me tell you the meaning of my life right now.
I lean into it.
Yeah, you always lean in. Even the day after you got married, the morning after, me and you were sitting on that dresser, and you were just, serving wisdom after wisdom after wisdom. And I'm just like, Rose is so lucky that she gets to be married to this and get this every single morning with her coffee.
It's too much for her. She's not a morning person. I just wake up and I'm like, good morning. Hi. I'm so happy to see your face. Good morning. And then I just, tell her about my dreams and about everything I feel. If I've talked to my daddy between the time I wake up and the time she wakes up, I tell her all about that. Like, she gets everything. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I need to start meditating so I can let her come too before I start with all this wisdom.
You need your own podcast. That's what you need.
Yeah, like, first thing in the morning.
Last night, guys.
So I need to tell y'all about my dreams. I need to tell somebody about my dreams.
Do you write your dreams down? Like, do you have a dream journal?
I have a journal, and my writing is very inconsistent. And I have these vivid dreams that I feel deep emotional meanings and connection to. And I'll tell myself, write it down, and I don't. But I remember them a lot of times. Most of the time, I remember them. Those are ones that are like in the Akashic records. I don't know.
Okay.
Like that's gonna be on on display when we all come back and watch the story of the world. Excuse me.
I went to the Akashic records one time, and yeah, I did. I went all the way in there. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to the Akashic records. I'm going to find out what my meaning in life is and what I came here to do. And I went to my file and I opened it up and it said, be yourself, bitch. I was like, great. Okay, fine. Like every single psychic reading I get, it's always about, Jack, just be yourself. Like, just be yourself. No. That's all you gotta do. Just be yourself. You stem from love. You are love. Just be yourself. One of my favorite stories about Ivy is, yes, we did meet at the blackout party. That was where we were masks, right? Charades, like it was like masquerades.
But I didn't really. I was coming from like funny story. I was coming from like the first ever UFC women's UFC title fight that night. Yeah, because I happened to know one of the girls that was fighting there because I like went to the same gym where she trained. So I was like, yeah, support. So, Rose and I got shirts, and we were all, all gung ho ready. She didn't end up winning, but it was still, a historic fight. And then we hurried up and came straight from there to Leo's. So we didn't have masks or appropriate party attire. We had Liz the Gorilla, shirts on. Liz Carmouche, the gorilla.
Just straight up lesbians.
Look, and my hair was like this everywhere, Girl hawk.
Yes. Most definitely. We always seem to reconnect at Leo's birthday parties. Remember that one time we went to the what was it? It was that bougie wine and remember? Do you remember that place?
That was the beginning of our charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Now we have charcuterie boards almost.
Now we have charcuterie boards everywhere.
All the time. Leo was like, I just wanted to try something nice and fancy and something different. And we were like...
Then you have all of us hoodlums and hooligans in there, like, when are we going to the club? Right? Remember? We were talking to each other. It was so cute because we had planned to go from the bougie place where we didn't fit in at all to I think Fiesta Cantina or something, like one of those ratchet places that we always ended up at. And you told Rose or you guys told each other. You guys were like, okay, well, I'll see you later. And Rose was going to go with somebody, and then you were going to go with somebody. And I was like, oh, y'all ain't going to the same place? And then was it you or was it Rose that told me, oh, no, we're going to the same place. We just like to mix it up a little bit, and we pretend that we're barely meeting each other when we go to different places with our friends. Was it you or was it Rose?
It might have been me. Yeah.
Do you guys still do that? Or is that old news?
We have spurts of that, where it's like a switch gets turned on with one of us, and it'll like honestly we'll just be doing regular stuff, like sitting next to each other on the couch and like, oh, hi. Long time no see.
You're sitting on the couch, so do you come here often?
Yeah.
Is that your dog, Samson? I like that.
We go to the park to walk Samson and Sophie, and we're like, oh, hi, haven't seen you here in a while.
I think that's so cute that you guys do that. You guys are so weird like that. Let's go into your childhood. Can we go there?
Layers.
What were you like as a child? What was little Ivy? Oh, wait a second. I think I have something up my sleeve, don't I? Don't I have... do we have something there?
Oh, shit.
Who is she? Who is this little girl?
Little tiny me. That was like preschool me. Probably pumpkin patch. I want to say that's probably like right after we moved from Houston, so big city, to the country. So most of my childhood takes place in the country. I have like, honestly, 2 memories of living in Houston. But that's me and my cousin Brandy, my cousin sister Brandy, and behind her you can't see, but it's my other cousin sister Ashley.
Oh, okay.
Cousin sister because we like grew up together, so like stair stepper in age and stuff like that. So Ashley would have these big girl conversations with us, and we would just eat it up. Me and Brandy, just little me.
Hold on, wait a second. Now that you're on that, I have something else for you. One moment, please. Since you bring up Ashley. Hold on, what did I do with those? Here. What's this?
Shout out to Ivy Baby Bunny Face. We love you.
Did you hear that?
Where did you get that?
Don't ask me these questions. I just get shit, okay?
Listen. Hey, Jusst Jack with 2 S's, because we all know one ain't enough. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your podcast today and give a little shout out to my cousin, Ivy. Woo! I definitely think the world should know that at one point in time, we actually kind of dated or talked to the same guy, and it's all because of her. When she went to a separate high school, she started talking to this guy named Bryson, and I was like, oh, he's cute. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's really nice. I think you guys would get along. And she totally hooked us up on a movie date, driving out in the middle of the night so I could go see this boy. But Ivy was right there rooting me on for it. Anyways, I hope she's blushing right now because I still think about that and think it's super hilarious. Anyways, love you. Bye.
I love that.
That's cousin Brandy for anybody who's listening or watching. By the way, excuse me. Ew, got a rock in my throat. That's gross. So yeah, that's what do you have to say about that?
Yes. Ashley calls me Ivy, Baby Bunny Face. They've always had little nicknames. Like when I was little, I had, cheeks. So, they call me I was soft everywhere. So they call me Marshmallow. And Ashley was the last one to let go of that. And every now and then she still calls me that. But she has like she's so endearing. She has to give me, a sweet little nickname. And she's the only one that I will let call Baby Bunny Face.
Really?
Nobody thinks to call me that, but when Ashley does it, it's so sweet. It's like, it has all the affection and sweetness that, she remembers, of little me.
Yeah. Do you think your cousins still look at you like little Ivy? Sometimes.
I still look at them, like little Brandy and little Ashley, sometimes. And I'm in admiration when I take a step back and see the grown up women, the beautiful women that they become.
Isn't that crazy when we see our cousins like all grown up and like married, and it's like, what? Why? What happened? So cute and little. What happened?
So cute and little.
Baby Bunny Face. So what do you remember from your childhood? What was your favorite memory?
Oh man, my childhood was like, a lot of people's up and down. One of my favorite memories of when I was like 5, kindergarten age, and I was starting the public school bus, transportation stuff. So that was all new to me. And I don't know, I was wild. They call me Wild Child. My dad, when he'd see me come in, he'd be like, wow, dang, because I don't know, I loved being outside. I loved running around barefoot. I liked being naked. And
really?
Yeah, and to this day, I'll still go outside barefoot. But and my hair would just be all over the place, and and I just biggest smile on my face, just happy to be alive. But I had to learn how to curb my wildness when I started going to school. I did not enjoy public school. I didn't. There were aspects that I enjoyed growing up in the public school system, but I was like over it, early on. Like in kindergarten, I was over it. But one of the memories that I love telling about myself when I was like 5 is I was on the school bus, and this bus driver named Miss Pearl. And Miss Pearl was quite a woman, and one of her mantras was, "Sit down and shut up." She would stop the bus. I swear to you, she would pull the bus over and she would go in on us, just start going, just cussing us out. we stressed her out. But, well, I didn't. I was kidding. So I was, 5-year-old me, I had a question for her one day. So I asked her a question, and, I felt like she dismissed me and gave me more volume in her voice than was necessary. She yelled at me, I thought, she told me to go sit down or something. And little 5-year-old me didn't appreciate it. I felt disrespected. And I went home and I thought about it all evening. And I said, I know what I'm going to say to her. Because I remembered there was this book. I'm just checking on Samson. I thought I heard him make some crazy sound. There was this book that our kindergarten teacher read, and the character in there was like, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And so I went and told Miss Pearl the next day, you're not going to talk to me that way anymore. You're not going to yell at me for no reason, Miss Pearl, because I was like, I have something to say to you. As soon as I got on the bus, eye to eye, with no mincing, no words, just eye to eye. I'm not really good at small talk. And I said, you're not going to talk to me that way anymore. You're not going to yell at me. And I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And she said, oh, honey, I wasn't yelling at you. It's just loud. I was like, mm-hmm.
I want to put her in her place. I'm going to let her know my feelings. I've got a lot to say.
Oh.
So you've always been this Ivy.
Injustice is injustice, damn it.
Injustice is injustice. I remember you told me about growing up with your brothers. You had to learn, what did you say? You had to learn something. The fight. Do you remember what you said? You had to learn, like, it didn't come natural to you. Aggression.
So the aggression?
You had to learn aggression.
I had to learn how to protect myself. My mom used to get mad at me because I'd go to school and I would get picked on or bullied or pushed around, and I come home crying about it. And she, of course, wanting me to protect myself because she couldn't be there and she's not going to push these little kids over herself. I have to learn how to set boundaries. But, she was like, if somebody hits you, you hit them harder, so they don't want to hit you again. If somebody pushes you, you push them harder because, they don't want to push you again. But that worked for her. It didn't work for me because I didn't want to keep pushing back and forth, because if I hit somebody harder, then they're going to hit me back harder. And then I got to hit them back harder. And I don't know if I'm equipped for all of this, So, I did, one of my brothers, he used to pick on me a lot. And, people say siblings are supposed to pick on you. But, when you have divorce and stuff in your family, you have unhealthy behaviors that are considered normal for the sake of just moving forward, and I think that's kind of what happened. And he felt comfortable with it and he was protected in it. And I think, to this day, I don't know if I can get, everybody to agree that, that was toxic for me. It was just, he was just being himself, or I was just being sensitive. And that was something that I tried to not be, was sensitive. And I was upset with myself for being sensitive and having feelings. And when I got in the Navy, I went into this Muay Thai kickboxing class, and I decided I was going to learn how to fight, and I was going to learn how to have this body language, and not go out and pick fights, but have this energy, this potential that I could handle my body somehow, some way, in the event that I had to. But it wasn't at first.
What did you say?
It wasn't natural for me at first to be okay with, inflicting pain on somebody. I still don't like to inflict pain on people. So.
Yeah. And I feel like you do have that. You have that aura around you that says, don't fuck with me. Just leave me alone. Don't bother me. I wouldn't want to bother you. I wouldn't want to bother you.
Any of that training in a very, very long time.
Yeah, you wouldn't use any of that. Could you imagine just for 1 second, try to imagine me slapping you. Like, what would your natural reaction be if I slapped you? You would laugh.
If it was you, yeah, I'd be like, Jack, what are you doing? Like, who gave Jack drugs?
I thought our hearts were connected.
Hands.
I thought our hearts held hands. What happened? Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I don't think anything would bring me to slap you. I don't
know if that you'd be capable. Honestly, I don't sense that in you.
I don't think I would. I don't have it in me. I never even learned that. Well, I could slap a bitch, I guess, but not you. I don't think I could slap you. Many people. Let's go ahead and go to commercial break real quick, and we'll be right back after these messages. Ivy, do you have the Jusst Jack chat?
This Jusst Jack chat? You know I do. Look, I have had many a chapsticks, many a lip moisturizers. I used to do the Carmex kick, everything. But this really does it. You know, it feels good on my lips. It moisturizes it. And I'm a really huge fan of the cooling, just the cooling sensation that it gives. It's so fresh, you know. When your lips are chapped, you know, this is just, it's so refreshing. I don't know. I love it.
I'm so glad that you love it. I make it myself, actually.
Do you?
Yes, I do, girl. I put the coconut oil and the beeswax, and what else do I put in there? I put avocado oil in there. I put jojoba oil. What else do I put in there? Peppermint oil, tea tree. Put a little bit of tea tree. Argan oil, which is really good for the lips and the skin. So we encourage you guys, go ahead on over to our website at justjack.com, and you can check out the Jusst Jack chat and also see more videos, podcasts, anything that we're doing there. So let's get back to the show. So we are back with my homegirl, Ivy. Did you change your last name?
I did not.
You just kept your last name.
I kept my last name. We decided to keep our names.
I just like Ivy. Ivy is good. Rose is good. Let's talk about marriage life. Can we go into marriage?
Wow.
You're recently married. And how long have you guys been together?
We've been together 10 years.
10? That's a whole decade.
That is a whole decade. That's a life. That's a century for lesbian relationships, you know. We're the old, experienced, the old heads. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking. Just give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead, do your thing. We'll cut this part out. Or we'll just leave it there. Who knows?
He gets excited and barks at shadows.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
So, were you the kind of person who always wanted to be married?
Yes, I think I was, I'm from Texas, so that is the model, you know, in a way, you know, I was like really devout Christian, Church of Christ. So my model from there was, you know, be a Christian, be a faithful Christian, find a faithful Christian partner to go through this life with so that you can continue to be a faithful Christian, go to church, have Christian babies, have a Christian family, and die Christian so that on Judgment Day, the Jesus will not turn you away. Can I get a hallelujah?
And girl, preach it, preach it, preach it.
You know, but when I met Rose, you know, when I met Rose, the model changed. And it took me a long time to accept being lesbian and letting go of my Christian fears.
Ooh, say that louder. Say that again.
It took me a long time to accept being lesbian and to let go of my Christian fears. Or, the Christian fears that that I had accepted as mine. Because I didn't know what else to believe at the time. So I used to pray a lot. I cried because I thought, we're going to go to hell because I want to be with her. And, and then eventually I moved past that and then I was able to marry her and be comfortable and not, I don't even believe in the same philosophies. I think it's an infinite amount of things that can happen when you die because energy can neither be created or destroyed. It's just transformed. So I think, whatever energy you're subscribing to, that's your afterlife. That's where I am right now as far as that goes. But yeah.
I feel like growing up in church gives us really wholesome values.
Mm-hmm.
But also I love that you said get rid of those fears, there are many fear mechanisms that the church is guilty of placing on us as people. And I think ultimately that's what sin really is. Sin is fear, and we should not fear anything. Especially heaven, a heaven is a heaven without lesbians and gay people. I don't want to go. That seems like hell to me.
When I leave Pride, I feel so sad. I feel like the world is so gray because I just came from this colorful place full of magic and people, strangers dancing together, just walking down the street, make eye contact, catch the beat, me and you, bitch. And then everybody around us joins. Or, I don't know. How can heaven be filled with gold without the rainbow and not have the gays and the lesbians and the trans and just the LGBT, all the alphabet.
All the alphabet. And then some.
And then some.
And then some. Pride is very inclusive, isn't it?
I have a good time. I enjoy the people there, like the variety of populations. I brought my mom one year, so Pride is very inclusive. I wouldn't say that it's all kid friendly.
I mean, they're going to see it anyways.
San Diego's is the most, but
San Diego's is definitely the most kid friendly. Didn't they have rides one year at Pride? I feel like they had. I don't ever go into the festival. I'm not painting it in anywhere. I'm going to stay my butt outside and walk around.
We volunteer and get free shirts and the weekend free.
I've done that a few times.
There you go.
I did it twice. But I like to volunteer. One time we were at Leo's house during Pride. Afterwards, I walked to Leo's house after. And then there was this little girl there, and she was just in heaven. Look, I said little girl. She was like, I don't know, 33. I don't know how old she was. And so she was just in heaven. She goes, oh my God, I love gay people. I said, yeah, me too. She goes, I wish Pride was every day. I was like, well, around here it is, girl. She reminded me of the little girl from Hairspray. She's like, I love Negro Day. I wish every day was Negro Day. I was like, me too. We were moving on from how does your life, how do you feel your life as a lesbian is different now versus growing up?
In having to accept that I like women, love women, all of it. Having to accept that about myself, I I've been open to learning what else I have inside of me. I don't feel like I'm the same person with the same judgments or the same insecurities. I'm definitely, I have a different set of insecurities and different judgments now that I'm working on. But yeah, and having to accept that about myself, it comes with accepting so many other things and appreciating so many other parts of myself as well. So, that I don't have to stay in this box. I'm a free agent. I'm a free agent. So that's what I feel like. Yeah.
One of my favorite songs is "Oh Happy Day."
Oh happy day.
Oh happy day.
Oh happy.
I ain't gonna scare nobody. Shut. Oh happy day. But in "Oh Happy Day," it talks about how Jesus washed your sins away and how you come to that point, that happy day where no more fear, no more shame, no more guilt, no more anger, no more suppressed emotions, no more oppression. It's just, you're free. What was coming out like for you? Do you have a cute coming out story?
Kind of. I came out a couple times to my mom. The second time she was like, well, let me sit down and have a beer. We can talk about it. And she was like, so, after asking me about, who Rose was or whatever, she's like, so you like her, huh? I was like, yeah. And she said, do you, I said, Mom. Yes, I do. I'm good at it too.
For anybody listening to the podcast, she just stuck her tongue out and moved it like really fast.
Just the tip. That's what my mom did. She just stuck the tip of her tongue out like she was nervous, like she was ashamed somebody was gonna see her, or that the full action of it would make her I don't know. She couldn't allow herself to free her tongue.
Oh, poor thing. So and then you told her you're really good at it.
Yeah, or maybe that's what I wanted to say, and that memory is so defined that I can't be sure if I actually said it or if I just thought it. But sounds better if I said I did it. And one more, I brought Rose to Texas with me before my deployment. When I was in the Navy, we drove my car out so my dad could take care of it for me, and we went out to the pasture where I grew up. There's a house and then there's the pasture. And we went out there so my cousin and my brother could do some Texas shit, shoot guns. And so I was like, yeah, I'll come. And Rose was like, of course she came with me. And so we get out there and we open the gate and we walk through the gate, and the cows do what they always do when they see us, is they start walking towards us. At this point in time, people just think Rose was a nice friend who helped me drive my car down.
Okay.
But then she starts getting scared. And she starts grabbing me and holding my hand real tight and holding me real tight. And just the body language was all there. And so then after that, walking back to the car, after we went shotguns and stuff, we took a picture of ant piles as tall as she is, because she's about 5 feet tall, and ant hills in the country are about 5 feet tall. But yeah, both of my cousins looked at her. Both of my male cousins who came, were like, welcome to the family.
Just like that.
Just like that. I mean, I think if you didn't know, if you were surprised that I was gay, at the end of the day, you weren't paying attention while I was growing up. even though I tried to hide it, you know.
Were people, I know growing up for me, people were like, yeah, we all knew you were gay. You were the last one to know you were gay. Was that like it for, was that like that for you?
It was like that for my Navy friends. They were telling me I was gay before, you know, was ready to accept it. And I was like, no, I just like a girl. But my family, I think they had suspicions probably, but I think they had hopes to see me live that normalized, that normal hetero lifestyle. Ramsey, my oldest brother, at my wedding, and he gave his speech, and he said, "Thank you for not conforming." That was in spite of family at times, you know, because if this is the system that works for them, but it doesn't work for you, it's kind of hard for them to understand sometimes, that you just can't, you know, and when I say that a system, I mean like the feminine system, the masculine system. This isn't ladylike, you know. I don't fit the mold of what, you know, I was supposed to be. And at the end of the day, he thanked me for it. But it wasn't like that always. It was, you know, he'd come home from college and he'd, you know, groom me. You know, this is what girls do, you know, this is, you know, boys do. And so, yeah, coming out was like, it's I don't know, in and out of sorts before everything was fully accepted. But I never felt rejected by them, you know, 100% rejected. I felt aspects of me were not understood, but not that they weren't, not that they didn't kick me out. They didn't say, I never want to see you again. Stay away from my kids, you know? So I'm grateful for that. You know, no problem too.
My computer battery is running low. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Of course, the battery would be going out right now. Welcome to the JustJack.com show, where you will be oh, dang it. I just broke a box. And I wanted to keep that box and put something in it for Christmas. We were talking about, you said, the systems. And I don't even think the systems work for most of them. And they're trying to make us conform into that system. And, you know, I think as queer people, we build our own systems and we build our own philosophies and our own way of life that works for us individually. Even in the queer community, you know, there are things that I would do that other queer people would never think about doing, you know, like wearing boys' clothes and nail varnish and not giving two fucks. You know what I mean, girl? Like, so I remember growing up and people would say, oh, I'm gay, but I'm not that gay.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm kind of like, what do you mean you're not that gay? Is there like a line?
A spectrum?
A spectrum, yeah. A spectrum. Or they would say like, oh, you like, you're, I grew up one time in the church and I had said, I think RuPaul is the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen in my entire life. And one of the leaders of all people, she was like, what you mean to say is if RuPaul was a woman, she would be the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. I go, no, I know what I said. I know she's a man. And I think that's why I grew up to be a drag queen, you know, because I've always loved how the masculine and feminine coming together, what that looked like when we really let that be in a healthy balance between the two.
just in ourselves.
Yeah. And I feel like being queer people growing up, we had to adjust to stay alive, you know, especially being a little gay boy who ran with his hands on his side. You know, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You get killed, like literally. They either beat you up. They beat the gay. They try to beat the gay out of us, and they can't. They can't beat the gay out.
They just reinforce it.
It makes us want to. It makes me want to be even more gay, just because they don't like it. I'm like, how can I shock them now? You know. What do you do these days? Like, let's talk about your work. What do you do? Who are you?
I work as a massage therapist at Thai Sport Body Works in Sorrento Valley. Right there, that's a emphasis. Right now, that's my location where I work, but I'm beginning to want to branch out and, you know, start to try to build my own empire. And so I'm, you know, looking up the many ways that I can do that. And this COVID situation is, you know, kind of putting a damper on massage businesses without doctor recommendation at the moment, and for understandable reasons. So right now I'm just quietly, you know, working word of mouth, you know, staying within friend, family, you know, community, and just helping people with the style of massage that I do, which it's not a spa massage. It's more like body work. It's a combination of, you know, Thai techniques and neuromuscular myofascial release techniques. And please let me know if you need me to expound on any of these terminologies. So I also do cupping, silicone cupping. I use silicone cups, and I know a lot of people have heard of Asian fire cupping, where they use fire, and that's really exciting, but also very it's a lot of liability. So I don't use that. I don't do that. I do the silicone cups with that leave the big pepperoni marks. So currently that's what I'm doing for work, and that is paying the bills. And as that's for my future development is I'm an acupuncture student, which is why you see this styrofoam head here with all these acupuncture points that I had to learn this term, just on the head. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing currently. So I'm working as a massage therapist. I'm trying to figure out how to develop my own. So coming soon. So keep your eyes out for my name. But yeah, I'm a student and I'm working as a massage therapist.
And all that stuff, when I go into where you are now in your room, there you have wall to wall with, what is all that stuff?
These are herbs.
Yeah, herbs.
Chinese herbs. And so there's classes that I have to take. Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you still.
Okay. So these are classes that I have to take, like, so it's a doctorate program. So when I finish this acupuncture program, I will be a doctor of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And with that, so this is like a medical school. With that comes our medicine, our form. So we have acupuncture, which is one of the most popular forms of this Chinese medicine. We also have herbology, which is like our pharmaceuticals. So we have to learn how to use herbs and combine them, or we actually don't grow and combine them. We can just buy the, you know, combinations ourselves and stuff. But we learn to prescribe herbs to help people with their issues. You know, one of the biggest ones is pain, you know, low back pain, you know, chronic low back pain, things like that, which are a lot of studies are coming out showing that acupuncture and things like that can help. So I'm pretty excited to to help, but not in a, of course, I don't do anything in the traditional sense. But I'm learning these days, a lot of healers are not. So I'm still learning what my spin on all of this will be, but coming soon as well.
I feel like we learn ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. And as we grow, we build up our own vocabulary, build up our own sentences and paragraphs and all that fun stuff. So in healing, I feel like we learn the basics of healing, but we all do our own modalities. We all do our own work. It's us doing the work.
I think that's the art part of it, the healing arts part of it. I think you can't just give somebody a massage or do some cupping. You have to put your understanding on it, your perspective and your spin of healing on that. And that's what makes it an art, because it's creative. It's not going to be the same every time. It shouldn't be the same every time. I mean, unless you're really holding on to a specific, pain pattern or holding pattern, but even then there are going to be variations because every day is new, right?
Right.
So,
like if you put me, you, and I don't know, a doctor next to each other with a person who has lower back pain, the doctor is probably going to prescribe gabapentin, a cortisone shot, a pain patch. What would you prescribe for as herbs for lower back pain?
Oh wow, I can't even begin to get into prescribing because I'm still barely learning them myself. I'm still kind of like a first year student. So that's why all my stuff is just all over the place. But as a massage therapist, I can answer that question as a massage therapist. And that would be, to understand how this pain is affecting them, what movements are they limited in, and I try to understand that movement in my body, and by understanding that movement in my body, I can understand where the pain is coming from and where potentially I need to work, and get to it faster that way.
Yeah. And as my healing modality, I'd go right into the mind, be like, okay, so what are you holding on to? Carrying on that back of yours, what you've been carrying, because lots of times what we learn in our healing is for every physical ailment, there is a metaphysical reason behind that.
I agree.
And so I don't just address the ailment. I'm not a doctor. Let's get that straight. Because I'm not straight. I'm not a doctor. So I can't prescribe anything to anybody. But when people come to me and they say they have lower back pain, these phantom hands, they do a good job with energy work. Yes. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, ooh, when I feel your back, you feel the heat on people where the pain is.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, ooh, what you carrying on your back, girl? Or sometimes I'll feel around people's heart. And I'm like, ooh, your heart must be broken. What just broke your heart? Stuff like that. But it's so interesting how we're all going into like these healing ways to help people heal for our daily work. I feel like so many, for the new world, this is definitely necessary. Remember I talked to your schoolhouse group?
Yeah.
About going into energy work, and I suggest it to everybody. Everybody right now should be going into energy work, no matter what you're doing. Find a way to figure out how you can balance the herbs with the energy, the touch with the energy.
I agree.
Rather than feeding our nation drug after drug after drug.
Just drink some water. Just start there. Just stay hydrated. First of all. Okay. I mean, and I agree with everything that you're saying. And that's also another reason why I want to start to do my own thing, because I understand that physical ailments are bigger than just, trigger points and tight muscles and restricted fascia. And, my dad, he's a big proponent in me learning and opening my mind to pain and different ways of healing. He began doing massage school when I was like 4. And as he started to become a better massage therapist, he started to get into energy work healing, pranic healing. And that's based out of California, Inglewood. That's where they have a lot of those trainings. But so I believe in that. And then the body mind connection, the right versus the left, the masculine, the right side, your relationship with the masculine and outside world, and the left side is your relationship with the inside and in the feminine. And those aren't just imaginary, details and images that people make up, to get you to come back to their body work. It's real, and you can feel these things on people. And I kept wondering about one of my clients. I was like, is this guy gay? What's going on with him? Is he, just living in the closet? Something's off. There's a man in his life that, that he needs love from. And that's what I kept feeling. But I'm not going to be like, hey, bro, you in the closet? You living in the closet? It's okay. I get it. I lived in the closet. I'm not going to do that, because maybe I'm projecting, but eventually I just listen to what his body's telling me, and a conversation topic comes up, and I ask a question that leads to this, that leads to him saying this, that leads to him saying this, that leads to me saying, aha, he's not gay, but there is definitely a man in his life that he needs love from, and love and respect from. And this is affecting him throughout his entire life. Wow. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information. It helps me make sense, because he's a repeat client, but it helps me make sense, I think, on everybody has a healing psychology, I guess. And this lets me in on his, because at first I was like, come on, man, you're against this, you're against this, you're against all these things that are good for you. But that made him seem, some of these things he said made him look weak, seem weak, feel weak. And that's because of this relationship with this man in his life that he needed love and respect from. And so it's all tying into this, so maybe I can address it from this take. Maybe I can address it from this angle to help him get to where he's trying to go with his healing. And I share that with my dad, and he laughs because he has a million stories like this. He's got a million stories like that. He said, I told you your day was coming. Ha, 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 ha.
Oh, Colonel Sanders.
Oh, Colonel Sanders. He said, I told you your day was coming. And it's little by little, nobody really specifically asks for these things, but when you ask to, to help, to be a vessel, to heal yourself, and to help at least guide people in the right direction for their own healing. And I guess you never know, what that's going to look like, because it's not going to look like anything you've done before that you're doing already. So right. It's always going to constantly reveal itself anew in different ways.
If you allow it.
If you're open at the time.
If you're open to it. I mean, our bodies tell us so much if we would but listen. Mm-hmm. If we would only listen to our bodies, it would tell us a lot. But we don't listen to our bodies.
Well, we don't know how.
We don't know how to listen to our bodies.
We have not learned. That's something we should have learned in PE.
That is something that we should be. That's, you know what? Find me a PE teacher. I have a lot of stuff to talk about with PE.
Let's work on this. Let's change this.
Our entire school system as we know it is changing right now. So why not go and help with the change? Why not bring in old school techniques with modern medicine to teach the children of the new earth? That way, when they grow up, they're not as effed up as we are.
They have some intention.
Right. There'll be less need for hospitals and mental health programs. There'll be a lot less
prisons
for that if we started out small with our children. Instead of feeding them fruit roll-ups and gushers, what if we started feeding their mind? What if we started teaching them how to go within and listen?
How does that fruit roll-up and gusher feel when you eat it, when it hits your tummy?
That. See, old school techniques with modern.
Is that fruit roll-up, does it make you feel your tummy kind of funny? Or does it make your tummy feel happy? Does it make your taste buds feel happy and your tummy funny? These are little kids are capable of understanding these concepts if you use a vocabulary that's appropriate for them, because they're experiencing life just like you're experiencing life. They're feeling, they're tasting, they're forming ideas and opinions and judgments, and to treat them like any less just because their frontal lobe's not fully developed, they don't have the capacity for that forethought, all of that, they can't pay bills and get a job, and I can't say that I'm not guilty of showing massive frustrations to children, especially relatives. But I try to have these conversations with myself. Was that necessary? How can you do differently? Because I don't want to perpetuate those cycles in myself and my nieces and nephews. If I have any, anything to say about it, or my cousins or people that entrust me, to be around their children. So
I came to break ancestral karma, not pass it on down to the next generation. And I try my best not to. It's so difficult, though. Lots of times I have these children at my house, and I yell at them. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you sound like your mother." Oh my God, what did I just tell one of the kids? Oh, he was staring at. He gave me my little Josiah gave me a dirty look. I said, "You better wipe that look off your face before I smack it off of you." And I was like, "Oh my God, I sound like my mom." That's exactly what my mom used to say when I would give her dirty looks.
But that's all you knew how to respond with.
And then I had to take myself, step it back and be like, okay, wait a second. Let's go into why he's staring at you the way he was. Because he has every right to stare at you the way he was staring at you, just like you had every right to stare at your mom like she was crazy when she was talking to you in a way that you knew you didn't want to be talked to.
Yeah.
Like the lady on the bus, right?
I say what I mean, and I mean what I say, Miss Pearl.
Miss Pearl.
Act like you want to.
Let's go into one more commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, all you podcast listeners, this is your good Judy, JustJack.com. I just want to thank you for listening to all the mess that we create, and I want to welcome you to join our private Facebook group called The Court of Miracles. That's on Facebook, and the link will be in the description wherever this is uploaded. We're going to be going through different books over the year 2021 and 2022, which will be Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Success by Wallace Wattles. But every day we're going to have different audios, videos, tools, resources for you guys. Mondays we'll have a Mindset Monday, a morning motivational call. Not motivational because who can I motivate, right? But just a mindset call. Sunday nights we're going to be giving Sunday night lectures. Wednesday nights we'll have Wednesday night webinars, all that fun stuff. And of course, every Friday we will upload our podcast with our friends so that way you guys can listen more. So go ahead and click the link and feel free to share this podcast with someone. Who knows? They might get a blessing from it, just like Dolly says. All right, lots of love. Let's get back to this show and wrap this up. Talk to you soon. Bye, Felicia. With my homegirl Ivy. Hey girl.
Hey boo.
Can we talk about your service to the country?
We can talk about it. I mean, I have quite radical thinking when it comes to service, to talking about service to country. And what service are you referring to?
Well, if I may share, one time it was like Veterans Day or something, and our friend had told you, thank you for your service. And you said, wait a second, hold up. Before you start thanking me, you better go thank the postman. You better thank your librarians. You better thank, and the list went on who we should be thanking, because can you elaborate on that?
I think I do want to say that it's not that I don't believe that the military is serving the country. However, I believe that the mantra of thank you for your service, regardless on if you even know what my service was, what it consisted of. On one end, I understand that, we had a whole generation of Vietnam veterans that were kicked down when they came back and mistreated, by the public, because the public didn't understand what they were doing out there, and they called them murderers. And then, the vets, the military out there, they were just doing their job, right? That's what they were told. They were doing their job according to the narrative that they were given, serving their country, protecting freedoms, and that's what they believed they were doing. And so they weren't welcomed, they weren't received home, very well, or with grace. And one way to help with that, is to say thank you for your service, because service members, military members do put their lives on the line, and the jobs that they have are dangerous. And I also believe another reason to say thank you for your service is to perpetuate unnecessary wars, and to make people comfortable with unnecessary wars, and not questioning. We need the balance of the people from protesting Vietnam, and today's understanding that the military is doing a lot of dangerous things, and they're people, and they have families that are sacrificing as well. So we need to have some middle ground. We don't need to stop questioning why we're here, why are we doing these things, but we do need to start thinking about what we consider as service, because we think the military is the cream of the crop of the citizens of the United States, these people in uniform. But who's also the cream of the crop of the citizens of the United States? The people who get up every day and teach children, the preschool workers, the daycare workers, the librarians, like I said, which is a dying breed. Even with all the brutality, the police officers, there are police officers who still do good work, and they are living under danger and working under dangerous conditions. Firefighters, EMT workers, they don't have a day. When we see them, we don't say thank you for your service. We're not trained to, we're not trained to thank post workers. I see the postal workers out on Sundays, 7 days a week. When we say that they have Sundays off, mail doesn't come on Sundays, somebody's working on Sundays. Somebody's getting some mail on Sundays, some packages. At this point, we need to start thinking Amazon drivers, So I want, and I say this to bring unity, and to understand that we are all serving the community. We are all serving this country. We may not all be doing it as in a protective, protecting from domestic things, but it's just as important, the people keeping the economy going here. There'd be nothing to protect, without the taxpayer paying citizens, that live here, and even some of the non-tax paying citizens that live here. So that's my take on service, on military service. And we all have different jobs in the military, so we all have, a lot of people have different perspectives, but I don't feel like my work out there was fighting for anybody's freedom. And I think if we are fighting for someone's freedom, if we are fighting for our citizens' freedoms, we should know and understand with freedoms, it should be every day, which it should be right there, with the muster that lets us know what stations we're going to clean, what maintenance we're going to do. These are what freedoms we're fighting for every day. Don't forget. That's what makes me say that it's just a mantra for everybody else to say thank you for your service, because on the inside, I was not made aware of what exactly it was that I was doing. Or, and I know on the scale of, security clearance, I don't mean I need to know exact details, of where this is all going. But are we fighting for someone's freedom? And I don't think that's an unfair question to ask. And I don't feel like it should be challenged, with malice or violence or hatred. It's a genuine question. The country is in tatters, and the only thing that really generates big bucks for this country is war. Most of our tax dollar goes to the war, or goes to military, and weapons and defense. I don't know. Why not share some of that with education and healthcare, so we don't have to keep filling the prisons with homeless and, and mental health cases? I don't know. I could talk about this all day, Jack. I could fill up your whole podcast.
Well, we talked about systems earlier that they tried to enforce on us that really didn't work. And what we're seeing right now, I feel what we are seeing right now is a collapse of those systems that we tried so hard to work for us in an age that we are no longer in. We are in, depending on who you talk to, we are going in or entering into the age of Aquarius, which is limitlessness. War will not thrive in this age of Aquarius. Your children do not want to fight with each other. Our children's children and our children's children's children will grow up, hopefully, if we do our damn job right, hopefully grow up in a space of love and compassion. And rather than fighting and thanking people for fighting, they're going to be loving and working and helping and thanking people. They're going to be thanking doctors, not just doctors who throw pills down their throat, but they're going to be thanking healers that actually changed their sicknesses and changed. And like I said, not like you said, they're not all bad. Not all cops are bad. Not everybody who wears the badge is bad. Not everybody who wears the uniform is bad. But those systems need to be reevaluated. And I even said to you one time, I said, they're killing our children. And you clapped back and you said, we are killing our children. We are killing our children. And I shut up and I was like, oh, she's right. I love when she's right. Tell me about how we are and we are, when we look at it, we're killing our children. We are allowing, how come, I want to know, how come it's okay? How come it's not okay for your child to pray to their God in the schoolhouse? It is not allowed for your child to meditate and go within in the schoolhouse, but it is okay for a recruiter to recruit your child to go into war so that, you know, what's the percentage of people who die in war? I don't know. But some of those children that go into that war are someone's child. That's someone's child. You are someone's child. I am someone's child. That's someone's baby. Why are we allowing, why is it okay for that to go into our schoolhouse? We have to ask.
And it's admirable.
It's
admirable.
And it's admirable. My father did it. My grandfather did it. My uncles did it. My grandfather's daddy did it. And now I want to do it because I want to carry the torch.
Why?
Why do you want to carry that torch? I mean,
my grandfather was upset when I joined. And he was a World War II veteran.
Can we talk about that? What did your grandfather say when? Did you think it was at that time? How old were you?
19.
You were a baby. Did you think? How did you think about entering into the service?
To be honest, it was the athletic side of me that really, the athletic and like challenge accepted side of me that was really curious about like Army boot camp. G.I. Jane had my number. I was like, yes, I want to be like her. Tough as nails, smart as shit, resourceful, that's the way I gotta be, I guess, in order to, because she earned these guys respect. She won the war that she was fighting as a woman, as a person, to be the person that she was doing, being in a different, doing something different. And I actually hadn't put this much thought into it, up until now, but that's what it was that I think spoke out to me, because I just always felt different. And I wanted to do different things, and I felt discouraged at times. I'm eclectic. I'm like a big ball of things that don't socially fit together at times. So I wanted to prove that I was good enough. I wanted to do those things. I wanted the camaraderie. And so I started, with the Army recruiter. Actually, he started with me, but I was already open to it because of my exposure to G.I. Jane. But then I thought, we're at war. I don't want to go to war. They'll probably send me over there, directly over there, and I don't want that. So I stopped talking to him, let him know that wasn't the route I wanted to go anymore. And I started going to school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. And I felt uncomfortable and awkward and weird. And I was using my grandfather's school money, and I was, also trying to get a job. And I thought, I don't know, I wanted financial independence. Mostly that was my biggest emphasis, was financial independence. A Navy recruiter called me, and boom, he had my ear all over again. So my biggest thing was I wanted respect, camaraderie, and mostly, financial independence. And I guess I thought that's what I had to do to get it. Not because I was patriotic.
What did your grandfather say?
He, I didn't tell anybody exactly why. I didn't tell everybody exactly why, but I told him I joined the Navy, and he said, "Why? Why'd you do that? I would have given you more school money if that was the reason. You could have talked to me about it. Because I remember him telling me some of his war stories growing up, and he said there should never ever be a reason for war." Because he served in World War II, he was in the Army, and he watched people die, and he had night terrors, and I know he had PTSD. He's a functioning functioning member of the community, bus driver, teacher, shop teacher, um, highly respected, but he was affected by it. I know he was.
A functioning member of the community.
Functioning member.
To have, right? And we still don't know what can tick, what will make them tick. The honking of a horn could make someone tick. Seeing a bunch of Asians, at dim sum can make people tick, but they're functioning members of the community. I think I would like to see that die.
Mm-hmm.
And have more functioning members of the community who don't have the other stuff,
Yeah, his ticking happened, with his family, behind closed doors. No one ever saw, his triggers. He kept that under, like, he had a lot of control, a lot of discipline, especially in public and in social interactions. But I know that he wasn't perfect. There are stories, and so I know, and of course of the time, the roles for men and women, made it so that men could be a bit more, could be controlling, of their families, even if it was a sense of hyper controlling or hyper aware or, hyper vigilance, from PTSD or a fit of, aggression, whatever, verbal abuse, any of those things. All of those things can be symptoms from PTSD. So
right.
he didn't want me to join, but he was supportive once I was in, and every time I call, he'd be like, "Are you a colonel yet?" I said, "Granddaddy, we don't have colonels in the Navy." "Oh, okay, that's right. What is it? A admiral?" I said, "It's an admiral." I said, "What do you have?" I said, "We have admirals," because that's like the same as, I guess, the colonel at the time. And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, are you an admiral yet?" "Granddaddy, no. I'm enlisted."
You're enlisted? Is that what you said?
I'm enlisted. I'm not an officer. It's not possible for me to get there from here just yet. But he wanted to be supportive. He didn't want me to be involved in a war, I think.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would want anybody in their family to be involved in any kind of war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to also say, sorry, as far as my grandfather was concerned, as he aged, everything, the most that I saw from him was he could really give you a really long lecture, about behavior and that kind of stuff. But mostly I would just saw that he would have night terrors at night, and he was generous with his family, I think he didn't want to perpetuate war, anywhere that he was. He was an educator, and he served his community, and he helped his children. He was whenever they needed it. So I think when I say he was a functional member of society, I don't mean like he wasn't a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
He wasn't a wolf in sheep's clothing.
He was literally what you said, a functioning member of society.
Yeah. Even if he had these issues inside, he was disciplined in getting up every day and doing something, working somehow. And when he didn't have a job, he'd get on his roof and fix his roof. He'd fix something around the house. He'd come out to Raywood where I lived, and he'd work in the pasture. We go bug him and drink all his Gatorade, and ride on the tailgate of his truck, all around. But yeah.
Yeah. We need more grandfathers like him.
Yeah.
Do you? Let's move. Let's okay, more.
We can jump.
Off, we can jump off of the service to our countries now. Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
My existence is spiritual.
Write it down. Take notes, people. Take notes. Say it again. Say it again.
My existence is spiritual. Just when you think it's not on the forefront of your brain, something happens. You get a deja vu. You get a dream that's like either premonitive or like, or you get some, it's not it's some real magical pictures in some of these dreams though. You get some revelations, I'll say. Or like something really crazy is sometimes Rose and I will have same theme of dreams, same time. And it won't be like, oh, we just watched Game of Thrones, so we both dreaming about Joffrey, it'll be like something totally seemingly random, but we'll wake up the next day. This is what I dreamt, and it had a lot of emotions, a lot of intense feelings. It was very vivid. Oh my gosh, that's like my dream, and I dreamt such and such and such and such. And I'm like, who does this happen to? It's amazing. I mean, it also lets me know that there's a deeper connection than just this tangible one, this just the one that I'm seeing in front of my eyes.
It builds into the immortal part.
Yeah. My dad, I mean, if I have the dad that I had for the foundation, that he gave me, and his whole existence like is ethereal. Me and Nathan were fighting one day, and I hit him, and Nathan decided he was going to tell on me, and Daddy, Ivy hit me. Ivy, why'd you hit your brother? Because he made me mad. He can't make you mad. Nobody can make you do anything. You choose to get mad. Oh, how dare he hit little elementary school me with something deep like that? But I understood it, and I I understood what he was saying, and just in a small, my understanding of that statement grows and grows as my frontal lobe, developed little by little. But just things like that, I like to tell Rose this story. So I started off my religious experience being Catholic, and from Catholic I went to Church of Christ, and from Church of Christ I went to yoga, and from yoga I went to just me. Okay, so in my Catholicism, one of my favorite Catholic stories is we had a new Catholic priest from Africa, and he came to the Black church. And I say Black church because it was predominantly Black, and we have unspoken segregation where I'm from. So it's like the Black church versus the white church, which was predominantly white. They had some people of color there, but they were light-skinned folks. And I didn't know how light I was at the time. So I thought I was like chocolate black, and I could make fun of people that look mixed, not knowing that I look mixed. So anyway, back to the real story at hand. So the preacher wanted to get to know all the young people, so he had us all come sit at the front 2 rows, and he's, and he noticed that we seemed unfulfilled, or like, he wanted to make sure that we were fulfilled in what he was giving us, and he pointed to me, and he looked at me, and he said, how about you? Do you feel fulfilled? And I said, I'm still hungry. And I mean, he used that his whole sermon. he used it his whole sermon. You know, I just can't help it. Spirituality is just a part of me, where, you know, religion can, you know, where the rubber meets the road, it stops. But, you know, it can only take me so far before I start to feel frustrated, you know, by the conundrum of rules and hypocrisy. But then you have spirituality, then you can free yourself from that. It's not easy, but you can, you know, and I'm still working on it, freeing myself from rules and hypocrisy, and, you know, assigning righteous anger to everything. So, you know, it's all a learning experience, but my whole existence is spiritual.
And I feel that there are so many different religious practices and techniques, or spiritual practices and techniques you can use on a daily basis, but they mean nothing if you do not apply them to your own existence. They mean absolutely nothing. I don't give a damn if you read your Bible 24 fucking hours of the day. If you're still promoting hate and fear, you wasted your time.
If you're cursing people out with your prayers, I don't mean actual cussing. I mean, like, you know, I don't mean
like what I just said.
No, not like that.
Irony of JustJack.com.
If you're putting negative spells on people with your prayers, you know, and you're wishing poor for them because they're not following what you said, what you learned was God's rule, you know, if you're saying shame on you for living your life when it's not really hurting anybody, it's not hurting anybody, you know. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to figure out what road is for them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if you curse people, I started to imagine that, you know, taking God's name in vain wasn't saying, oh my God, it was saying that you came in the name of God, but did not do what it was that God sent you to do, like love and forgive, you know, and be a human being. And, you know, if I say I'm a Christian, but I don't do Christ-like things, then that's taking the Lord's name in vain. You shouldn't have just said, you shouldn't have said it at all. You shouldn't have said Christianity at all. You shouldn't have said Christian, Christ, nothing, if you wasn't going to come here and do right.
And promote,
you know, and promote fear, because you have to become aware, like when a police officer puts his badge on, he has to be aware that his personal biases do not get to come and take over anymore. They should not come and take over anymore. I'm here for everybody, to protect the people, you know. And so even if I have to protect someone from themselves, you know, and that should be the same mentality, you know, that we have. Like if EMT workers, when they put their stuff on, if they're not putting people in chokeholds, you know, I don't know, mental health workers, when they walk through those doors and put their badge on, well, I know I'm gonna say Rose is like, you will never see me restrain a client. If I have restrained a client, this is all bad, you know. So it's like, once you put that mentality on, once you say I come in this name, in the name of, if you're not going to come and do that work, you might as well not have that uniform on. You might as well have not had that badge on. You might as well have not said that you were a Christian, that you were a police officer, that you were a doctor, if you weren't going to come over here and, you know, do your job. I don't know.
It's just like when Barack Obama wrote that letter to Donald Trump before he left office. In that letter, he said something along the lines of, this is a temporary seat that we take on. It's a temporary role that we fill for the greater good of the nation, you know, for progression of the nation, to, you know, police officers to protect and serve the people. Anybody, you know, what we do here, what we're doing here in the podcast, in the video, sharing with people, to glorify God and serve people. Hopefully.
I tell Rose every day she's doing the Lord's work. She's working extra so that these families don't have to, because these families are in need, you know. And she laughs, and it sounds funny, you out here doing the Lord's work, but I put emphasis on the way it sounds because, we get a good laugh of, from it, but I'm serious. I mean it, every word. This is what Jesus was doing, ministering to those in need, sacrificing his time, while still maintaining certain boundaries, but sacrificing his time, so that these people could learn this, these people could have this growth, these people could have this healing. And Rose is out here doing the Lord's work, even if it means sacrificing our time. And I really have to take a step back and remember that, that she doesn't belong to me, that she's doing, her service, and I have to do my service. And then we come together and we talk about our service, or we uplift each other in the service or support each other, because it's not always going to be easy, but she's doing the Lord's work, helping people. You're doing the Lord's work. She's a licensed marriage family therapist. She just passed the test, but she's been working as a marriage family therapist, getting her hours, and she works with kids in crisis, youth in crisis.
She works with the youth, right?
The youth, the youth who have either tried to commit suicide or hurt themselves by cutting or, self-harming. And she tries to help get them back in the home, get them to a safe place where they can hand them off to another professional and, get them in the home. She helps to triage the situation.
The Lord's work. What did you tell me one time? You said, thank you for standing on the front line in the battle of love. What do you remember what you said?
Was I drunk?
Yeah.
Then that was between you and whoever that was, okay?
I think that's what she said. I think she told me, Jack, you are doing the Lord's work, and I thank you for standing at the forefront of on the battle of love.
Look, because it's necessary. Everybody's not out here trying to do that. That means you're facing your demons and you're helping other people learn to face their own, instead of perpetuating the war, and unhealthy and toxic traits. That's all the Lord's work is. It's not being advertised, feeding the homeless. It doesn't have to always look like that. It's enriching work, enrich the soul, enrich the mind.
It doesn't look like you just paid for the person behind you at Starbucks who could have easily afforded a $12 cup of coffee anyways without you.
Because they were already in line.
And putting it on social media to get likes, comments, and subscriptions. I think, I really do believe this. I think the most beautiful gift anybody can do for their fellow man is to pray for them and send them love and pray for protections around them and pray for healing and pray for peace for their fellow flawed human being, without telling every time. Guess who I just prayed for today? I prayed for Ivy. Give me a like, give me a heart if you want to pray with me. Meet you at the pole. Did you ever do that? You're going to meet at the pole. Everybody needs to be saved. No, Hillary Faye. Just be yourself. You need Jesus.
Worry about yourself. But I tried that. Go ahead. Your grandmother what?
My grandmother says, oh, I don't know what I need. I go, you need Jesus, girl. That's what you need. You need the blood.
Can I get an amen?
The blood of the lamb, honey.
The lamb, the whole lamb. Say what?
What were you going to say right now?
It passed.
You tried something. Let's do an empowering question before we leave and bid everybody adieu. I have an empowering question right here. What kind of advice on life would your old self give to your current self?
My old self. Right. It's usually the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting that you asked me that question, because I've been trying to connect with parts of my old self, that I miss, that were, I think my old self would say to my young self, that you don't have to stop loving people or be afraid to love people, when they hurt you, or when they're hurting themselves and you don't know how to help them. You don't have to stop loving them. You don't have to stop appreciating them and being there for them, because that's all part of it. That's all part of the relationship too. It's a part of the stations, because you're going to be there and they're going to be there for you. And even if your friendship doesn't last, you still don't have to stop loving, because once that becomes your mechanism, it's really hard to build back up, to feel safe again in being social, to feel safe again in building relationships and even sharing your magic. So don't stop loving, because I've been trying to, cultivate that openness that I used to have, that I didn't meet a stranger. And now I'm like, I don't care if you are a stranger and you're telling me I'm beautiful. Like, I didn't ask for that. You don't know me. I don't know your name. You don't know my name. Exotic is not a compliment anymore, sir. I know sometimes you still have to have that about you, but I do miss, I miss not holding on to things.
Loving them anyways.
Loving people anyways.
Loving them anyways.
And still wanting to do nice things and care. Don't stop caring.
Don't stop caring. Yeah, I think my younger self would tell me the same thing. Like, who cares if they don't give it back to you? Remember, people could only love you at the capacity that they love themselves. And I love myself so fucking much that I have so much love to give out to people, that it doesn't matter if you give it back to me. It doesn't matter if it's reciprocated. It doesn't matter if you deserve it. It doesn't matter if you never talk to me. All that matters is I gave love to you.
That love was cultivating inside of you, because you created this reason for it to cultivate. You wanted to share it with me. Didn't matter if I was even thinking about you that day or whatever. As long as you still have that in you. Yeah, it's like, you don't have to stop caring, because the moment you do, that's poison for yourself. The moment that you start to retaliate and feel comfortable and powerful in the retaliation, and then that's poison. At first you think, yeah, this is it. This is how I'm so the tables have turned, but the tables have only turned on you because you don't feel good about yourself when you hurt people. I don't feel good about myself, even when I think negative things, like just really nasty, judgmental things about people sometimes, and maybe to me it's nasty and judgmental. And so if I say it to somebody else, they'll be like, that's it, or maybe they'll be like, oh my gosh, this is too much. But I challenge myself on those things. And I think my younger self would challenge me to continue to care, about myself, about other people, to not stop caring.
I think that's a little bit taking God's name in vain, because when we forget that we're all one, and we forget that you are God having an experience and they are God having an experience. And how dare you talk about God that way? How dare you? Who do you think you are? So many times I tell myself that, like, who
do you think you are?
Talking about God that way? That is God having an experience. Whether you like it or not, whether you feel they should be treating you a certain type of way or not, you know, that's still God having an experience. Who are you to judge?
Check yourself. Okay. I like how you said it for the school meeting. You had to check the bitch.
I gotta check the bitch. When the bitch starts acting up, I gotta check her.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, conversely, when the bitch goes off her leash and attacks, I have to check that too and be like, why did she get off her leash? Because she's not used to being off that leash.
Mm-hmm. She don't know what to do with all that.
So don't question why I let the bitch off the leash. Question, what did you do to cause this bitch to get off her leash? How did you provoke this? But then it goes back into your father, what your father said, right? What did your father say?
Nobody can make you mad. You choose to get mad.
You choose. And lots of times, there are very many times, the bitch looks at me and says, let me off this leash. And I say, shh, not right now. Wait. Then finally, I let her off, and people don't like that, but then they leave me alone.
Yeah.
They don't mess with me again.
Right.
You know? It's this whole juicy contradiction, a balance of life, I suppose. A balance, a healthy balance of
that we must respect.
That we must respect. It is is within, anyways. All right. One more shameless plug before we go. Should we shamelessly plug the Jusst Jack?
Always.
To go buy your Jusst Jack chat available.
Look, I had a little, and I want to say I had a little sore on my lip because my lips were really dry yesterday because I was being silly and not using my Jusst Jack chat because we got like 5 tubes. You know, you can't lose it. You got 5 tubes of them. So I got a crack on my lip because it was so dry and it was hurting so bad. But after putting this Jusst Jack chap on today several times, I must say it feels rather soothed, moisturized, and it's healing quite nicely. It's almost not there anymore. You put love in this too? You put some love in this. Huh?
Oh, you know. I saw this one lady I used to watch this one lady on YouTube, and she would cook. And she would always bless the food and bless herself. And then she would say it in Italian, but she said, one time she said, I don't do anything without God. When you cook, you bring God in. When you clean, you do it with God. And so when I make the Jusst Jack chap, I say, come on, God. And I literally, there are many times, every time, right before I'm going to start pouring, I'll put my hands over it and then use my energy to kind of like how we make holy water.
Yeah.
You just use the energy from the palms and let it go into there. And my prayer is always, may the words of my lips speak the meditations of my heart. And anybody who uses the Jusst Jack chat, may the words on their lips be kind and loving words, even when they fuck up.
Yes, I appreciate that prayer.
So, and also for anybody who needs work on their body, make sure to hit up Ivy. Ivy did, I want to share this before we go. Ivy did give me a massage one time, and I didn't want to get naked and I didn't want to take off my clothes, you know. So I didn't, and I laid down and she actually gave me a massage on my face. And that was just heavenly. Even the song that was playing, I was listening to the music and she said, that song was just called the Evil That Never Could, or The Evil That Never Came. It's on my YouTube. Go check me out on YouTube. But it's on a playlist, meditation music on my YouTube. Go check it out. It's on one of the playlists. But thank you, Ivy. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. We look forward to having you back on the Jusst Jack podcast.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I always love sharing time and space and conversation with you and words and love. It's never a dull moment. You're funny, you're hilarious, and I adore you.
And our hearts hold hands.
Every time.
All right. Lots and lots and lots of love to everybody listening. We welcome you to join our group, the Port of Miracles. If you're not there already, we welcome you to subscribe to our email list at justjack.com with 2 S's, because one just ain't enough. Lots and lots and lots of love. Bye, Felicia.